Hello, hello everyone! Oh my goodness, happy Monday! Today is the start of a new week and I'm very excited for today because we have another guest coming on. So today we have someone who I've actually never met before, but I'm very, very excited to chat with, and her name is Heather. So we're gonna pull her up right now. And excited for this. So let me pull up Heather on the live. I think we should be good. Maybe? I don't know. Sometimes. Hello!
Hi.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice
I'm
to meet you.
good. I'm so excited we can finally chat and meet.
Thank you. Me too. This is real. I'm honored. I've been watching your different social media platforms for a little while.
Oh, awesome.
You did such a
Awesome.
great job.
Thank you. So where are you calling in from? Where are you located?
I'm in New England.
Really? Where?
Um, Southern New England.
Okay, because I grew up in Massachusetts.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
from
I did
Plymouth.
too. Wait, I'm sorry.
I'm from
What?
Plymouth County.
You're from, okay, I grew up in Hamilton on the
Okay.
North Shore.
No way! What a small world.
I know, isn't it?
That's
That's
wild.
wild. Wait, that's your doggy wagging his tail in the back?
Yeah, this is Doug. I don't know where he went. Oh, there he
Whoopee!
is.
Oh, how what a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's adorable. He might be rustling around a little bit, so while you're chatting, I'll probably go on mute, making sure he doesn't squeak his toy and all that sort of stuff. But
Oh,
yeah, I'm super excited to talk. Normally, I just do these very kind of candid, just going back and forth, learn a little bit more about you and what you do. So, if you want to talk a little about your business and how you got started, what you do, who you serve.
sure. I got started. Well, I don't know. I've sort of been doing all this stuff since I was a child, but I just didn't realize it because it just seemed normal. And then I had a whole bunch of medical issues when I was a kid, and nothing seemed to make it make sense. And eventually, I started looking for other answers and found them through Reiki and nutrition and herbs and crystals and lifestyle and just sort of like wellness stuff. But then in addition to that, ancient techniques that have been around for a long time, which strangely enough worked for everybody. So I use a combination of all of those things and approach healing from a really holistic point of view, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So our bodies, our minds, our souls, our spirit, our emotions, everything is all together. They're not separatable. And so, you can start healing from any of those angles, but you really need all of them to be really healthy and whole.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever chatted with anyone in this space before. So
Oh,
yeah, so there's a lot of terms that you kind of just like Reiki. I don't really know about any of that. So if you want to dive
sure.
in a little bit, that's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, ask questions all the time because it's jargon that when you're used to talking about. So Reiki, I actually do a form of. I'm going to start at one point and then sort of back it up down to the actual answer. Reiki is a type of energy healing, which is, in like Christian terms, it's like the laying on of hands. Basically, you're letting the divine's healing energy flow you, and you're directing it to somebody or something or a situation. So, if somebody is in your presence and you touch, the like a sore shoulder or something, they might feel a nice, beautiful, healing warmth, and they just go, "Oh my God, keep doing that." Um, or you can send healing energy to somebody on the other side of the world, and they will just start to feel better. And even if they don't know that you're doing it, it's sort of like it's all connected with the power of prayer. It's if you know anybody who gives really great hugs, essentially that's connected, same kind of thing, yeah, you know what I mean? Just to like, wow, that's really, really, really nice. Okay. Because we all intuitively can sense things that are good for us or things that are bad for us in a variety of different ways and different formats. So Reiki is a Japanese version, and people get training in it, and some people use symbols that they sort of draw in the air or in their minds, or however they want to do it. I'm a master healer teacher level, which is like the top level, in something called Shambhala Reiki, and that's more fluid, non-binary, like just the difference between drawing lines versus watercolor. And but it's all about healing, and it's about healing the body, it's about healing the spirit, and healing the mind and emotions. And it's just a very and it's it's non-invasive, it's gentle, it's also powerful. So I like it because, especially when people are healing from trauma, you don't necessarily want to talk about it, or maybe you can't talk about it, or maybe it's something that you buried so deep that you don't even know what it is. You just know there's something wrong and you need some help. And it's nice to be able to go to somebody and just be cared for gently, and to help start heal the layers that are covering it over, so that when the wound surfaces, you're stronger in other ways, so that you're more able to help yourself deal with it when it comes up.
Wow, that's really interesting. Very calming. The way you just said it is very like calming and peaceful. I like that vibe and that energy a lot. So when people come to you for this sort of thing, what sort of like, I guess, experiences would bring someone to wanting this sort of thing? You said traumas. Would it be like, what sort of past experiences?
A lot of the people that I work with have been in abusive relationships.
Okay.
And so whether that's a partner relationship or parents or a workplace, even friendships, so that stuff can happen on any level, whether it's physical or emotional or spiritual. Types of things that people might be trying to deal with, that they just, it's really hard to deal with, especially because in our culture, we don't talk about things sometimes the way, as intelligently as we could, or openly, like grief and anger. We give people like a little, you got a week, get over it, and that's not how it works,
Right. It takes
and
so long.
especially, yeah, grief, normal grief time, we say normal, and everybody's got a different normal, but is really like a year and a half, 2 years. But if you suffer a major loss, like your partner dies, or the most important person in your life dies, that is not going to go away in 2 years. You're just going to start living a different life in 2 years. But it's a process. And healing is a process. So one of the things that I like to make sure that people know is that it can be really hard work to heal all these things. And you should be proud of yourself, and don't be frustrated if something comes up again in that same area, because it's like a spiral. We just keep going. We are moving, we are progressing, but we might go back into the same territory to heal something more again later, which can, that can be sort of a bummer if you like to get things checked off the list.
Yeah,
you want to be done with something.
Person where it's like, oh, I just want to do this thing and get it over and done with. But yeah, I feel like with this sort of stuff, it's like kind of more cyclical, where it's like you think you get over it and then you don't, and then it's like something triggers it and you come back and it's like, oh, you have to go through this whole journey again.
Yes. So don't feel too frustrated, because you are progressing. It's just another aspect of it, and it's also it's sort of part of the way life works.
Yeah.
Which is just
Yeah.
Can't we just get a big Mr. Clean eraser and get rid of that thing, right?
Unfortunately, no. So, when you first filled out the form to go live with me, I was really intrigued by your name because you wrote down Heather, and then your Instagram handle is it's what Peacock and Paisley. So where
Yep.
did that name come from?
So I have always loved peacocks, and I've always, well, yeah, loved Paisley ever since I was a little kid. My grandfather worked in Turkey for a while after World War II, and came home with some fabric that my grandmother draped over a bureau where some of my toys were stored out on a little porch, and I just always loved the pattern. I always loved the design. And it turns out that both things, both peacocks and the design Paisley, are all about spirituality. Deep spirituality. Like peacocks are a version of the phoenix, and through a craft of across a wide variety of cultures, they are a symbol of resurrection, life, and renewal, and power, and the all-seeing eye, and wisdom, and understanding. I like them, aside from before I knew any of those things, I loved peacocks for their colors, their extraordinary, deep, gorgeous colors, their power, their presence. When a male peacock like really gets going, they just like shimmy their tail feathers and shine. It's so impressive, and they have the most amazing voices and calls. And Paisley is it's like a drop of creation, kind of like a teardrop shape. It's also the same shape as, oops, so good. Okay, I don't know if I can do this right, but that's like the Paisley shape right there, like the little like,
Oh, the swirl?
yeah. And women in India, I don't know if they still do, but they used to like every morning they would bless their house. They would like dip their fist into like milk or water and do a design on the doorway and then the little drops. And it's also like a baby's foot, like a little baby footprint. So it's about fertility, and it's about creation within, like the sperm and the egg coming together. So it's all of these different layers, and it was just something that for a business name, I intuitively came up with it a million years ago, and so that's part of why that's all there.
I love that. I love how deep that is. Like surface level, it like I never would have thought of that, but like I don't know, like I always when I think of like paisleys and stuff like that design, like I remember going to some yoga classes before and like just seeing like those swirls all around, and it's like now that you say that, like wow, I guess it is really in tune with like the spirituality stuff.
Yep. Yep.
It's really cool.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about some of the clients that you work with. Who comes across your page and who typically like resonates with a lot of the work that you do?
Usually women, and like the really deep holistic healing for trauma work that I do is, men can benefit from it, but it's designed specifically for women because we have a different situation in society, and those things impact us profoundly. So a lot of the women that I work with are between the ages of 45 and 65, and they have had significant experience in life. Some people are in charge of dealing with a lot of people, and they are looking for better ways of wellness, both for themselves and for their groups who are burned out, because that's another component that I work with, is people who are either verging on burnout in the workplace, or they're fried, they're toasted, they're just like, I'm crispy, I need to do things differently, and I don't know what it is, but can you help me sort this out, figure it out? So those are most of the people I work with are empaths. And it doesn't mean that that just means that they're very sensitive and they're aware and perceptive and they experience other people's feelings. That doesn't mean that that they want to stay home and avoid people. You can be an extrovert and be an empath like I am, but it just means that their energy is really they're in tune with other people. And so part of what I teach empaths is how to take away the toxins and bring in what nourishes you, because I'm a big fan of functional medicine, both physically and spiritually and emotionally. We have the ability to heal. We just have to get rid of things that are toxic for us, and that can be people, unfortunately, sometimes, or a toxic job, or it can be toxic food. But then once you remove those things and you learn how to build yourself up and you learn a few tools for protecting yourself, then it's an incredible gift. Because some empaths feel like they're cursed. They're like, I'm sick of being impacted by other people's bad moods or whatever. But you can actually learn how to create a really good buffer around yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you said about the whole burnout thing, because that is such a big, prevalent problem in today's society. Like, people are either stuck in hustle culture or they're stuck in like 9 to 5 burnout, and they're just like, they feel like they're not going anywhere. So I love that you're working with that section of people, because it's like, even just looking at my parents, like being stuck in their job, like feeling like there's nothing else for them, and then it's like, but I don't really know what to
But
do.
there's
Like, I
you.
need the job. Like, I can't do anything else. And it's like, so that's I feel like that's really empowering that you're doing something like that and helping those people.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
No, it really is. It's really amazing. Like, there's not enough of you in the world doing this sort of stuff, because so many people are struggling with these issues, ranging from like my age all the way up to like my parents' age and beyond. And it's incredible to see people like you are helping people like that. So when it comes, you said something about tools for protecting yourself. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that. I'm very interested in that.
Sure. I have a toolkit on my website, and if you join the membership, that comes with the membership, or we can do it separately, but it works nicely to be able to ask questions about it. Or if for my private mentoring, then that comes with it also. So one of the tools one of the easiest ways to start is with something that sounds like the bikini mudra. It's the Hakini mudra, and it's hand yoga. And I can't do it with one. You put both of your hands together, but basically like the classic Christian hands together form of prayer.
Oh, that's
But yeah, but all you really have to do is the fingertips, and the only important ones that are your index and your thumb, and you make a triangle shape. Yep.
Okay.
And then especially if you can combine that with crossing your ankles and keeping your feet flat on the floor at the same time, which takes a little practice, but you can do it. You can do this in the middle of a conversation with somebody. You can be standing in a crowded room and do this, and you can seal off your energy field so that you're only feeling your own feelings, and that way you can sort out like what you need to do in a situation. Like if you're feeling like a super common thing is feeling like anxiety, and you're like, I don't see why I'm feeling anxiety. I should be fine. Why do I feel sick to my stomach or whatever? And if you do the Hakini mudra, then you can see how you actually feel. And then you can say that to yourself, I'm feeling only my own feelings. I'm feeling only my own feelings right now. And you want to specify the timing, because you don't want to turn them off. You don't want to turn off your abilities. A lot of people have done that, and really now is a really important time to be in tune and in touch with and using your intuition and your connection with the divine. Or you can, if you're an atheist, we could skip that part, but it's really important to be in tune with your intuition. So use that Hakini mudra, and you can put your fingertips together and just like try to breathe through it. And I'm feeling only my own feelings right now. And then when you feel normal again, you can let go and just kind of let things flow and then see what happens. And if it comes back, then go back into Hakini Mudra, go back to your normal so that you're like reconnecting with normal for you. And then if you want to, you can let go again and then start tapping into where is this coming from? Who is feeling this and why? And then, you know, if you want to go further, then you can say, what do I need to do about this? What do I need to know about the situation? You know, do I need to protect myself? Do I need to walk out of the room? Do I need to, you know that this person is not in my, you know, does not have my best interest at heart, you know, all of those things. So you can use this ability for your benefit, and that is what it's there for. But it just takes a little bit of practice, but that's the quickest one. Do you have any questions about like another kind of circumstance? Because I can tell you more.
Yeah, I mean, keep going. I'm very intrigued with this whole world. So yeah, keep going.
There's so much. I don't want to like overwhelm, so I need a focal point.
So I guess like this ties back to like meditation, kind of like just like being like with yourself. So are there other like meditation practices, I guess, that fall under this kind of category of like different ways you should be like sitting and just like interacting and like dealing with your own mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that you should always trust your gut. Trust your heart and trust your gut. And literally, we actually have more like brain cells, actual brain cells, in our heart and in our gut than we do in our brain.
Really?
So, yeah, I know. I know, it's crazy, but that's like our culture traditionally has taught to use your brain to logically figure something out. But I actually think it's really important to do it the other way around and listen to your heart and listen to your gut. And, you know, so again, when you're figuring those things out, it can be helpful to do the Hakini Mudra. But another super simple way to do it is if you're not being swamped by other people's feelings, you can I like to put my right hand on my chest and my left hand on my tummy, and then just, and then do that same, like, breathe and relax and just be like, okay, and like, you can talk in the third person to your spirit if you want, if that helps you kind of like interface or not. But be like, what do I feel? What do I need? What do I want? And then focus on that. And if you get an answer that doesn't seem to fit with what you see going around you, then you can ask, what can I do about this? And this is where it gets to be helpful to have a spiritual connection with spiritual helpers like angels or God or the divine or gods and goddesses, whatever it is that works for you. It's all sort of like different languages. Honestly, I think like good is good and bad is bad, and it doesn't matter what your religion is as long as you are being a good person. That's short version. So back to like the mindfulness and meditation. Always trust your gut, and then look for intuitive, healthy ways of moving forward with that if you're in a difficult situation.
Interesting. So for people who are like just starting out with a way of life, who realize that they have some stuff going on and they think that this might be a good route for them, what are some things that they should, I guess, look out for in themselves? Like, what should they be like asking themselves before they start this type of work? Because it's not like one of those things where you can kind of just sit down and like you said, like put your hands in certain places and stuff. So how would you guide people on getting in the mindset for this to actually work for them?
Use my toolkit. It's so easy. It is so easy, but it doesn't. I think our cultural, we have a lot of inhibitions against doing stuff. And so one way it might be to go back, remember back into your childhood, if there was a point in time where you felt free and happy and flowing and comfortable, and ask yourself, what was I like then? What did I like? What did I like to do? What did I enjoy? How strong and wonderful did I feel? And, sort of like just feel into that, sit in it for a while, and then go, when did that end? Who ended it? Who told me I had to stop? And that is often a place where you can start healing, start removing those barriers, remove the blocks, piece by piece by piece. And, and if you have traumatic injuries, you don't actually have to think about it too much. You don't have to dig back into it. You don't have to dive into the pool of pus. You can actually do things without talking about it. You can, do the energy work. You can do, some people call it walking meditation, but basically, I think classically we think of meditation as you have to sit still, don't move, don't think about anything, don't, and you can do it the opposite way. You can actually go out and be super physical in whatever way works for you, and then get yourself into a flow state so that you're just, things are just flowing. And in the beginning, if you're trying to work your way out of a pile of poop, just, for instance, go. If you can walk in the woods or along a beach or someplace in nature where nobody's going to bother you, you're not running into the neighbors, you're not talking to people, you don't have to do anything. You can just go and walk and just let your body start to relax and release things from your body, because we do hold it in our actual physical bodies. So even if you don't know what it is, and if you don't know what the answer is, just move your body in whatever way feels good. Walk, swim, take a bath, shower, doing the dishes oftentimes, just things that you're not mentally working on. You're just doing things. You're just flowing. Sometimes driving, but I don't really recommend driving when you're working through a deeply emotional situation, because you should be physically safe. And drive, if you have a little moment where you just go like that might not be good.
Not the best.
And because that's what you do want to get to that. So let's just say you're walking through the woods. You're walking and you're like, I'm mad about whatever. And then you just keep walking, and you just I'm going through it. And then you might get to a point of, is there something in addition underneath that anger that I'm aware of, that there's more to this. This is more anger than just that one thing. So then when you're ready, you let yourself get to that deeper thing, and then keep flowing. And then you may find that your heart opens up, and you feel a feeling that you had been repressing because you were not safe to deal with it until that moment. And then you just kind of let that flow as much as possible. And then at that point, if you have a spiritual connection with beings beyond you, with something that's more powerful than you and helpful, obviously, at that point you may end up wanting to call them in to help assist you. Hold me up, heal my heart, clear this away from me. I'm done with this. Please take away this guilt, or please soothe my grief, or here's this big pile of anger. Please help me to know what to do with it. And then process, and then walk, and just let things flow, so that then by the time you get back home again, you are giving yourself time to cool down, as if you were, if you're an athlete, then maybe you go out and you push hard, but then when you come back, you give yourself 5 minutes to run more gently so that your body is kind of coming down off it. It's the same thing with your spirit and your emotions.
Wow. I never thought of it like that, where like connecting it like physically, even though it's not physical, it's all like, wow. I don't even know how to like put into words like what you just said, but like that's really, really interesting, the fact that like connecting it with like you have these highs with it, and then it's like you're like drained, sort of like you like an athlete where you just like you're coming down from it, and then it's like you just, wow. That's just a
Yes.
huge perspective shift for me. That's really interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But I love what you said about like getting out in nature and just like connecting with nature with stuff, because anytime, like, at least personally, anytime I've been like, oh, like just in a mood, or like I'm like something is just going wrong here and I don't know how to fix this problem, and it's like getting outside and just like going for a walk around the neighborhood, or like you said, going to the beach or like a park or something, and just like being in tune with like just being grounded has always helped so much.
Yes, yeah. It's interesting. They're actually proving, scientifically now that being in nature, like physically in contact with it, like skin to skin, so to speak, like literally, if you have your shoes off or you're able to touch the ground with your skin or a tree or something like that, it changes your electromagnetic stuff so that you're actually healthier. So into a vibration that is better, physically, mentally, and spiritually, which, you can, this is happening. You just, as, you know, you've experienced it, but it's nice to have that external confirmation for people that haven't necessarily experienced it strongly enough to be able to understand. It is a real thing.
Yeah,
It really
yeah,
does help.
yeah. 'Cause, like, I think a lot of people look at this kind of stuff as like woo woo, or like, it doesn't actually
Yeah.
work, or it's like, I'm wasting my time or my energy or my money like
Yep.
going and doing this kind of stuff. But in
Yep.
reality, like, it really,
Yep.
if you open up your mind to the possibilities, and like you do look at it, like if you are a more scientific person, like there's
Right.
proof that this sort of stuff works, and it really does help you.
Yes, and here's another tip for somebody who's just getting started in this, like, dipping their toe in the pool of woo-woo, is try it. Like, try one little thing and do a science experiment. How do you feel right now? And then try the little thing, and then how do you feel? And you're not going to be doing any of the things that I suggest are they're all holistic and natural, and they're not going to hurt you. So you can try it and see if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then try something else. Um, that's how I ended up trying crystals, which I know is like in certain circles, that's very people really laugh at it. They're like, white girls and their crystals. Um, but try it. All I could say is try it. I started doing things with. I started buying jewelry when I guess I was like 16 when I got my ears pierced, and I had a couple different sets of earrings that I really liked, and I noticed that I felt better for different situations if I wore certain earrings, so I just did. I didn't know anything about crystals. I didn't realize that, the amethyst that I was wearing was helping me to be spiritually clear and open to inspiration, or the hematite, was grounding, protective, and strengthening. But that is what I was using it for. And then when I found out more about crystals, I was like, oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've never like played around in the crystal world before, so could you talk a little bit more about it? So each specific gem has like different properties it's supposed to help you with?
And most of them help with a range of things that are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And they have individual, they help individual things. And there's crossover between different crystals, but they each have certain things that they work well with, which you can find in my course on crystals. And there's also lots of books out there, and you can Google things. So you could, for instance, Google a symptom that you're having and, you know, headaches, crystals for headaches. And you know, you'll get some suggestions. It's just, it's absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I like about crystals, especially for healing trauma, is that you don't have to talk about anything. You can just literally pick it up and hold it in your hand, and you will start to feel different. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
I'll have to look more into that because that's really cool. Because I noticed, like, I don't know if pearls are technically a crystal, but like whenever I put my like pearl earrings and like kind of what you said, like I always feel a little bit different. Like I always feel like more confident and like more like myself when I'm wearing them. But yeah,
Cool.
yeah, I don't know,
See,
it's really interesting.
everybody's got their thing. I'll have to look up pearls. That is so interesting that you mentioned that, because I was scrolling through your feed and I was like, oh, she wears pearls for a lot of her videos.
Yeah, I put them on like with the exception of today because I've been running around. But like I always put them on whenever like you can look at my YouTube videos. I always have the pearls on. That's like it's just like my thing. It just makes me feel so much better. So I'll have to look into it too. I never put two and two together that they might actually be correlated.
Yes, yes. Good scientific word.
Well, I'm so glad you were able to hop on today. For anyone who's tuning in from my audience, where can they find you? Do you have any resources, links?
Yes. Go to peacockandpaisley.com and you can find all of my socials there. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. And if you sign up for my newsletter, there is a Where Should I Start Healing checklist quiz. And it will give you an idea of whether you need to start with physical or nutrition or all sorts of different aspects. So that's just one way. It's interesting because it's kind of enlightening. But you can find me here on Instagram at peacock_and_Paisley.
Awesome. Well, it was so great to chat with you. And if I ever have any questions
Likewise.
about stuff, I know I'm definitely coming to you because
Great.
it's been a very enlightening conversation for me. And I think a lot more people should definitely at least look into this sort of stuff if they're like suffering with trauma or, you know, if they just want a little boost in their life in a way that they're not really sure what will help. Like, I think this is definitely a good thing to look into. So thank you for sharing all of your wealth and knowledge and everything. And if you're tuning in for my audience, make sure to go give Heather a follow, check out all of her resources, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Very much. Bye.